opinion. It seems.
Well, it's two bites at the apple,
Right.
evidently, yeah.
But the commissioner isn't given the recommendation, the committee is. And on the last committee, I had a recommendation and it was voted down. And so what you will see presented from the committee is not even my opinion, because I was one of many people on that committee. So, it's not, anyway, what were you gonna say, Tanya?
Well, I also, I sit on the design review committee as well, and I think it's valuable to note that in the Senate and in the House of Representatives and in the City Council, they all have committees. It's a committee structure, and they all have representation. They sit on the committees. Each individual representative sits on the committee, and then they vote again when it comes to the actual, and both in committee and actually in the body as a whole. That's a committee structure, and that's a very typical committee structure, and it doesn't make sense to me to have a different committee structure for us. Because it's a very common structure to have people work in committee so that they have membership and ownership and have expertise in that, and then they take that expertise from the committee and present it to the body, the voting body. And I think that that's the crux of the matter, about how, the crux of the matter for Andre is that you get two bites, but that's kind of the way it works, like everywhere. You get two bites. Somebody gets to be the expert, and then they get to bring that expertise forward to the actual commission, the ANC as a whole.
As well as the council members and recently the State Board of Education. They just have committees and those members are on the committees.
But is the community involved? The community isn't involved in appropriations in Congress. It's about the community, not the commission.
But they do bring in their own experts, and they do bring in people outside to actually support the committee. So it is a little bit different. Oh, thank you, okay? But the point is on the committee and then on the commission, and that's a similar structure for most committees and most bodies, and that's sort of very common practice. And that why we would have something different is a little bit beyond me. So, and I do agree with Natalie that we should just table it now and discuss it more internally for a while, and then if we really see that there's a problem, we bring this up again. So I agree that this should be tabled at this point in time.
Well, all right. Any more discussion? So we do have a resolution on, motion on the floor to table this.
For 11 and 12.
For 11 and 12.
Because they're both together.
I would think, well, yeah, we'll take them together. Because 11 does affect 12. So, okay, do you want to vote of hands or a roll call?
A roll call.
Roll call, okay. Roll call it is.
All right. Carly?
No.
Sobolewski?
So we're voting to take it off, so
To
yes,
remove items
yes
11.
means remove, but yes means
Yes.
remove.
Yes.
Yes. Just making sure.
Yeah. Knickerbocker? Yes. Parks? Absent. Hughes, absent. Snyder?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Rogers?
No.
Cockrell?
No.
The vote is 4 yes, 3 no.
Passes, okay. We will table this for what, a year, you said?
No.
It doesn't have
to be a year. Next meeting.
Just say more discussion.
More discussion on this?
Yeah, we should have more discussion.
And that goes for 11 and 12?
11 and 12. And I would also like to flip it to 13, and I'll say the reason why.
And you want to delete grant application 13?
Yes.
And why is that?
With no prejudice to Rock Creek Park Village, because I believe they are a worthy organization, we should follow our guidelines when accepting grant applications. The fact that East Rock Creek Village has received funds in the past means they should be well aware of the rules stated on the grant guidelines. When we don't follow our own procedures, how can we expect our constituents to follow them? When we make exceptions to our rules, then we run the risk of making exceptions for some and not for others. And that causes mistrust. Also, does any of the new commissioners know how much funds we have? How can we be expected to vote on a grant if we don't know how much money we have?
To answer your first question, the Rock Creek grant application that was a clerical error. It should have been, wasn't it in earlier, a lot earlier than 2 weeks? Came in the last week? Okay. And, we do follow, for the most part, we do follow the guidelines. There've been some, exceptions to the rule that were fine. I think Rock Creek Park Senior Village is one of those exceptions. As far as the budget is concerned, how much?
$3,000.
We have $3,000 for grant applications. And so, we.
For the year?
For the
Yes,
year.
for the
For the
year.
year.
So if I didn't ask that question, would the new commissioners have known how much money we have for the year to give out to grants? But we're expected to vote on it that's one of my issues. The second is, I feel like it almost pits us, everyone knows East Rock Creek Village is a great organization. The fact that I have to bring this up, I feel like it's pitting me against, my constituents, because my issue is not them. My issue is simply, we have guidelines. The reason we have guidelines is for someone like myself or any other commissioners that are interested to go check out this organization, to maybe I read everything they had on there, and I had some questions, and I don't even know if I have enough time to get these questions answered. And so when you say there are some exceptions, who are we giving some exceptions to? Excuse me.
Well, I can't recall, because I did not, who the exceptions were, but there've been a few, not many, but a few. Usually it's because it was time sensitive. We'll grant exceptions to it. And for your most grant applications that have been rejected because they were not following, the auditor's guidelines. They were asking for things that were not allowed on the auditor's list of things that are acceptable. As far as your other, issue, you should have known, that it was a $3,000 limit, because in our subsequent, orientation meetings, we did mention, Rock Creek Senior, not Rock Creek Senior, but, grant applications were limited to $500 because of, budget constraints, and we had a $3,000 limit. That was one of our orientation meetings, that I recall.
Tanya, did you know that,
You don't remember that? I thought we did. Well, okay, so we're gonna move to.
Is it time sensitive?